Mongol bans kind of go away, and people are fine with playing against Mongols. They kind of understand they're a strong civ, but I don't mind dealing with them. On the other side, Delhi seems a little bit too much.
Yeah, Delhi, very annoying to have to deal with stopping them from those sides, but that's neither here nor there. Nobody opened with Mongols here. We have, correct me if I'm wrong, but a very unusual starting civilization matchup here, Beastyqt. What do you think happened? Chinese against English on Dry Arabia.
Yeah, so Leenock is obviously a huge fan of Chinese civ. He's the one that probably plays it the most out of all of us, and he's a firm believer in Chinese civ. He believes it's strong, but a very, very questionable pick on Dry Arabia. This is not common. Maybe this is something that he tried to counter on other civ. Chinese civ overall, I would say, is not in the greatest spot, but against English and Mongols, I think it has a decent matchup. Perhaps not against English and Dry Arabia, but maybe he wanted to counter Mongols because they're open for both players, and VortiX ended up going for English. So there's a lot of mind games, and sometimes you see weird picks on weird maps, and you know, there's a lot of like, oh, he did this on this map, so I'm going to try to counter it with this. And sometimes you get with, you know, you end up with matchups like English versus Chinese on Dry Arabia.
Yeah, when you say sometimes, you mean rarely, if never, right?
Yeah, so
rarely or never.
This is sometimes seen on closed-off maps, like French Pass, Mountain Pass, perhaps.
Which are, by the way, not in this tournament.
They're not
but
in this tournament, right? And that's about it, right? So very rarely you see this matchup, and seeing it on an open map is very, very uncommon. So I wonder what Leenock's approach is. I do think you try to counter Mongols with Chinese. So he kind of has to adapt now. He knew about the matchup, you know, 20, 30 minutes before the game.
Sure.
So he kind of has to adapt, like, what do I do? Do I just get a stables and just bump out horsemen and try to prevent that initial longbow push? On the other side, the question is, how much practice does VortiX have against Chinese on open maps? So technically, even though Chinese is not great, has VortiX played against it?
Yeah, and someone of Leenock's caliber. I think maybe Leenock's Chinese can only be rivaled or outclassed, or maybe not outclassed by anyone, but at least coming near by maybe two other players on the server that regularly pick it. So the likelihood of VortiX having played this matchup is actually really low. Is it 64 matchups possibilities in a game with 8
a
civs?
lot. And
so on this map, it's going to be rare indeed.
Yeah, and we do know that the player that definitely played this matchup, even though it's weird, is Leenock, because his most played civ, I think, is Chinese. So he probably has had a matchup like this in Dry Arabia, but VortiX, I kind of doubt. So technically, English should have a good matchup here, but because of the circumstances and who, you know, Leenock playing Chinese, we might see a little bit of everything.
So let's jump a little bit deeper into those strategies in a minute. But first, let's see what the early game has procured for them so far. If we look at Leenock's vision, he's decided to go with a singular scout, as you cannot slot in a scout after your first Imperial official. You are 10 food short. And then how many sheep was he able to gather with that first scout, basically? Right now he's got 5 carcasses and 5 herdables. He probably went through 2 sheep already. So I want to say maybe he got about 12 sheep, which is half off of a single scout. If we look at VortiX right now and his vision and his sheep count, he has 2 herdables, 2 carcasses, maybe went through about 3 or so already, and he went for a double scout opening. So Leenock's scout path was either more efficient or more lucky.
Yeah, and you can see VortiX kind of giving up on the scouting. I don't think he scouted the full map. He's already trying to harass a little bit. You know, damaging few workers might set you up from some longbow easy pickings later on. And we see that Leenock is trying to cover his gold with that Barbican so that it's pretty safe. He has TC covering berries and wood line. He also, we can see on the minimap, he put up a wall on the backside. So he's just kind of trying to cover each side where the longbows can't poke in. Because as an English player, you don't want to go all the way around, because then you're kind of stuck. And if opponent just kind of rushes you down, you might lose all your units.
Okay, so that back wall kind of preventing some outpost maneuvering, perhaps longbows harassing the backline. Leenock doing his due diligence of safety early, and here we have that move out. 5:15, couple of longbows and a villager. Is this early, normal, late?
This is normal, but I'm kind of worried maybe a little bit for him, because if Leenock, I don't see, oh, he does have stables. Like, this is very scary. Moving like this as English without spearmen where Imperial Officer can, get that boost on the production, you can kind of get really quickly beaten on the middle and pushed back. And I feel like from then on out, it's very hard to get any map control. But we do see Spearman following this as well for VortiX, so he's most likely, expecting this. It's very common with China to have this kind of response. But Leenock already with an archer range as well, so he's ready to battle it out. He won't be rushing castle or doing any of those things. He just will plan to kind of defeat VortiX in the middle and push back the English.
Okay, so let's see how that goes. Leenock has got 4 military supply right now. He's got... he's, of course, in the red on the north side of the map. He's made a couple of horsemen. If we look at his exact army, it's 2 horsemen and 2 archers. We look at VortiX's army. He has a few longbows. He's got 5 longbows and 4 spearmen. So right now, that is the superior force. But Leenock, of course, can rapidly adapt to the situation. He's mostly on food and wood. A little bit of gold, but mostly on food and wood. And the gold is likely from taxes, not from active gathering. So he can try to get as many units as he can. The villager drops real low, takes 2 salvos from the archers, but gets away with just a sliver of health. Can he finish that outpost, though?
Yeah, this is really big for Leenock. Leenock should maybe suicide a couple of units just to get that villager. Because if English has to send another villager, that's going to take an extremely long time. And... we can see VortiX is mining stone, so he does want to upgrade those towers. And yeah, Leenock should definitely just die for this and suicide a horseman for it. And this slows down VortiX quite a bit. We see that Leenock traded 2 horsemen and I think 2-3 archers.
Yes.
But now that tower is not up, he has to send another villager, which now Leenock knows, so Leenock can actually try to pick off with the horseman as it's reinforcing. And again, this stone will not be used, and Leenock kind of gets a little bit of a breathing space for himself.
So let's say if this repeats. Every 60 seconds, a villager dies on Dry Arabia. Together, you can stop this by stopping to send villagers. But also, like, if he keeps doing that, and you keep losing 1 or 2 horsemen to kill the villager, eventually, you would imagine VortiX takes a villager lead. But you think it's worth it to stop the outpost rush for that long?
Yeah, I would say if it's a normal outpost, I would say it's not worth it. But because we see that he is mining stone, it's definitely worth it because he put the tower very aggressively and he's trying to deny the wood line.
Right.
And yeah, the other wood line for Leenock is extremely open. So if he manages to deny that wood line, Leenock will be completely out of wood.
Was that a villager or a longbow?
I think it was a longbow. Villager already passed, I think.
Okay. Let's see if that outpost can finish. Leenock right now, he's got 10 army population, 9 right now. VortiX got about 14. 30 villagers for Leenock against the 26 from VortiX. And keep in mind that extra tax gathering, the Imperial supervision drop-offs. VortiX is starting to build that outpost again. He's got plenty of stone and gold to make an arrow emplacement here, and I'm not sure how close Leenock is to being able to get something like a blacksmith out, a couple of ramps. So this tower could be quite a big problem for Leenock.
Yeah, we do see another villager, if I'm not wrong, is being pulled from VortiX's base because there's another tower queued. Yep, there's another villager, so he's already preemptively towering the other wood line. And he will most likely make another tower on the first wood line as we saw the villager move from the left side. So he is obviously very committed to this, and if he manages to deny the wood line, no more archers, no more horsemen, and Leenock is kind of put in a very difficult position. But I like this move from Leenock. He cannot contest the army, so he's just like, okay, I'll just pick off units wherever I can and stop the reinforcements, which I think is a very good thing.
Good target fire. If he had auto attack moved, he would have hit that longbow and it would get the kill, but the spear would get away. You can tell he's actually looking at that and getting in on that multitask, focusing that spearman immediately with a double volley. The lumber camp pivot here by Leenock tries to get away from those arrow emplacements, and he sees, and that's a very exposed woodline. You called that out before, Beastyqt. He sees an outpost gathering there, but he hasn't really noticed it yet.
Oh, does he? Oh, he does. He sees it, but he doesn't see it. It's
exactly
one of those, and if that tower finishes, that's going to be pretty bad for him. He needs to stop that to kind of have a chance, because that will be instantly upgraded, and that's going to cover quite a bit of that.
And the
that
longbows,
woodline.
He's got 9 longbows. That's a single shot to kill a villager. Archers and horsemen are coming in, but there's not enough army. That's 1 villager down. That's an archer getting attacked, actually. And he once again has to yield this lumber position, go away, and yeah, stop gathering. So where is Leenock's lumber situation? He's got 158 lumber, currently not making any army. He's going to try to do this flank here. He did kill the villager though, so the outpost momentarily has been halted.
Yeah, I think Leenock maybe had an opportunity there to just die for the army.
Yeah.
Like if you look at VortiX's army, it's 4 spearmen and and about 9-10 longbows. So if he actually kind of sandwiched that, I think he could have done really, really well. But now VortiX reinforcing, getting more units there. Leenock is just buying himself time, and it's kind of question when he's gonna go for it. Oh, he found a small forest he can do some work in. And while this looks in a way bad for Leenock, you know, his wood lines are sieged with these towers, they're actually double upgraded as well. And that is quite a big of an investment, right? While he is denying wood, Leenock is finding extras. And the longer this game goes, I feel like it does get better and better for Leenock because he also has a lot of upgrades.
Yeah, he's got the. I think he's one of the few that would have cheekily squeezed in a double broad axis upgrade right now.
Yeah, definitely. That's Leenock has a certain villager count where he gets his upgrades. He has wheelbarrow, which is huge. He has the wood upgrade. He has the archer upgrades as well done. So he's doing really, really well. And the longer the time passes, this goes kind of better and better for him, as long as he doesn't lose villagers to these attacks.
Pretty quick reaction, losing a singular villager, killing a few likewise in VortiX's base. The count is 37 against 30. This is only going to get Leenock further ahead. And it was a good call out by you by saying that those outposts were double upgraded. 150 stone, 25 gold, 100 wood plus build time for every single tower that he has double upgraded. A fair amount of resource sink. And he's getting more villagers here. This counterattack is completely catching VortiX off balance.
And if we look at the villager count, guys, this is not a Song Dynasty. This is just 1 TC versus 1 TC, and Leenock is 10 workers ahead. So, you know, picking up workers that are building towers. VortiX went double scout, right? So that's equal to the Imperial officer as well. Actually, Leenock might have multiple Imperial officers, which would put him quite a bit ahead in workers. We do see a small engagement Leenock is trying to get, but I feel like this is not enough army.
Yeah, this is not enough army. Those archers are going to take so many shots just to kill the spears. He's kind of losing them. We must imagine something else was going on at the same time elsewhere. Leenock lost a lot of army there. He's got less than half of the population of army. Not how he wanted this to go, because really he wanted to slow play this, ideally, militarily. Because he killed so many villagers, you still need to find enough time in order to turn that superior economy into army. And that time had not yet arrived. Now his archers are walking past, taking some shots from villagers. Nice job for VortiX to use his villagers and those special anti-personnel bows to get a couple of cheeky shots in.
Yeah, I like the move where he actually found where he can get some wood line for free. And VortiX does not have tower on that side, so this is going to go uncontested. There's so many villagers on the wood right there.
Well, it's shooting, actually. The tower is finding shots over the
How
tree.
does he have... Oh, it has vision from the tower on the left, I think.
Really? Can we see the vision here for the other player? Oh, wait, this is him. Oh, you're right.
Yeah, he...
Oh, the left side tower, the top side tower,
Yeah, they kind of
much
connect, they overlap quite nicely, and it gives him the vision. So if he actually moves a little bit to the left, he'll be fine. But Leenock needs to kind of try to cut off reinforcements and then try to sandwich the main army. That is I think, the easiest way to beat the English push. And we see VortiX is like quite aggressive, so I think there's a lot of opportunities for that. He just needs to kind of muster an army big enough to fight VortiX's army.
The problem now for Leenock he has 0 food per minute and 11 food in the bank. His people are starving and they can't eat tree bark. He went from 1,000 wood, excuse me, to nothing. So I imagine he put down about 10 rice fields or so around his town center at this time. Looks like that's what he's doing. He's trying to get food, but it means he's making 0 villagers right now. He's making 0 units. He just lost hella villagers in various locations. Suddenly, Leenock's strategy and base setup fell like a house of cards in a stiff breeze because he's got nothing. Like, he hasn't made anything, hasn't been able to make anything for so long.
Yeah, and the villagers are going down. We see he was ahead 10 workers, and now he's behind 5. So it's going really bad for him right now. He will get the farms up, but that woodland is exposed, and he's not attempting to fight VortiX's army. So while killing villagers here is nice, he actually needs an army to eventually defeat his opponent army, or he will just bleed out slowly all the villager that he has. So we do see he's denying some farms, which is, I think, good. And I think that is the only food source from VortiX, if I'm not mistaken. As we see his food count plummet. Yeah, I think that's the only farms and food that he does have. So denying that also prevents opponents from making any units. So they're kind of both in a little bit of a no production for now.
It's pretty funny because VortiX dropped to 0 food per minute. Well, let's say 0 food income for a bit as well, even if in average he still has food in the last minute. He's not making any villagers. Look at the production queue doesn't show villagers, but for a while he was not making any villagers. So they're really slowing each other down. It's very reminiscent of yesterday's French mirror game, where they brought each other to their knees economically. A high pressure situation here. VortiX did see fit to squeeze in the siege engineering upgrade. He's making a ram even now, and that might be the coup de grace here for VortiX to try and finish things off once and for all against Leenock, who's trying to straddle into this and stay in this game.
Yeah, I mean, he is still doing there's a difference between the two players attacking, right? Like, one is harassing and the other one is going for a kill.
Right.
So Leenock can kill a couple of workers, and that's great. But again, the problem is he does not have a main army. VortiX has a couple of spearmen, a couple of longbows, which will not defeat this army of horsemen and archers. But, you know, they will inflict some losses to the opponent. They will delay it. You can see he cannot do it straight up engagement. Meanwhile, on the other side, there are so many units that there's just an army to face them.
Imperial officially was supervising the lumber camp, but there were no workers. He quickly makes his getaway as longbows advance and encroach upon Leenock's base. Towers are being taken out here by VortiX with that ram, with no counter argument against it. A second ram comes in. You said it, Beastyqt. VortiX is going for the kill move. Leenock is finally producing units again. He's got 3 horsemen in production. Food is finally coming in once again from those rice fields. I wouldn't count him out yet. Villager count is extremely low for this phase in the game. They have both suffered great losses, but Leenock does still have to work his way back to getting a respectable army. He's quite far away from it, and his marketplace that has been helpful to turn some gold into food and wood is now destroyed as well.
Yeah, he didn't manage to get that last trade because he has 500 gold still. So he could have bought some more food or wood.
When it was dying, he had to
when it
spam
was dying, yeah,
yes.
he could have used it up. But he does have a chance here. Like, this is, again, how you try to defeat the English. VortiX doesn't know where the army of Leenock is. He doesn't know where this cavalry that we see now is. So he still is keeping his army, half of his army back at his base. So what Leenock needs to do is try to go for a complete crush on this main army.
We only see one fight, right?
Yes,
against
one fight.
English.
And we only see 6 spearmen here, which is not a lot. I think Leenock has like 18 or 19 horsemen.
Oh, and the flank is coming in. The horsemen are coming from behind. They run into an outpost. They're kind of hurt from the fight before. Their synchronization is not perfect, with the other horsemen being late. But here they come in, the horsemen straight into the archers. Spearmen scramble to defend the longbow that are even now being engaged upon. Other horsemen coming in from the side again. The focus fire by the longbows on the archers. That's going to make spearmen dominant here in this fight. But this is a large crush of horses and bodies. They crush most of the army here for VortiX. He does have more reinforcements at home, but the split was good for Leenock. He deals with a small portion of the threat.
Oh, he's engaging into the reinforcements. I don't know if he's on a move. Yeah, he definitely did not want to do that because the 5 spearmen were more than enough to take on these horsemen. A lot of them were low on health, you know, not quite ready to fight. And this is something that I felt like he had opportunity earlier in the game. There was a point where he had 2 armies.
When this outpost was 80% done,
it was at that
was the moment.
At that exact spot, yeah, and he didn't take it. He takes it now and defeats the army. The problem is, while this was happening, he was bleeding a lot of workers, and you can see him 7 behind right now, so it's a lot harder to kind of contest. And again, he's doing this counterattack, picking off longbows, which is great, but this is something that that's how you kind of pick apart English player. You kill a longbow here and there, you make those numbers a little bit lower, and you kind of go for that crush from both sides and try to kind of completely eliminate the army.
At this point, Leenock has suffered great losses. He perhaps missed his window. He's fighting against VortiX's 14 English farms that are more efficient when they bring back food to a mill that's actually being expanded right now. I'm counting roughly about ballpark, about 18 to 21 farms or so. That is a large food income that's going to see VortiX to be very healthy, slowly recuperate his army back into this game. And Leenock still has that incessant warning signal. Outpost attacking your farm, outpost attacking your lumber camp from that west side of Leenock's base, non-stop being a total nuisance. It's sound pollution to him.
Oh, we missed it, but or maybe I missed it. But there's a tower on the small woodland as well, and another one attempted, got denied. But Leenock is actually has some workers on the
far top
north.
right.
Yeah, he has some 4 or 5 workers there, just chopping wood, getting some income, and want to look at the Leenock's army to see what he has. I mean, he still has a decent army. This is not, 13 archers, 5 horsemen. If he actually target fire with his TC on some of the spearmen, gets a couple of them down, he could potentially delay the game and kind of slowly come back into this. As long as VortiX doesn't overcommit, though, he's definitely in a good spot.
Yeah, nice little horseman torch attacks. Tries to get about an attack in without getting hit too hard. Nice micro and battle of wills from both players here. VortiX is actually getting the upper hand there. Horsemen have a small wind-up before they throw their torch. It's like, and torch attack. Okay, there we go. But longbows are getting good shots in. Now the spearmen are being sent in. Once they get a little bit more aggressive about defending that final ram. Nice target fire on the longbow sees Leenock pick off 1 or 2 of those dudes. Now the villagers get a little bit more cheeky. Sorry, the longbows. And they get a villager kill right there as well.
Yeah, and finally Leenock decides this is the time, pulls the villager on the ram. He's going to try to pick off the spearmen so that his horsemen can do all the work. We see 3 more horsemen joining in. And I feel like this is a good fight for Leenock. There's only 3 spearmen left. He can definitely clean up this army completely.
He's cleaning it up now. He actually has a missed shot, or maybe it's the fact that they were fighting on snow and I didn't see the arrow shots. He killed most of the spears. 2 new spears are coming in. One is watching and saying, carry on, fellers. As the archer ball gets kind of decimated by VortiX, his longbows with the superior range are killing many of them. Again, a war here with a lot of losses on both sides, but it's backed up by that superior VortiX economy, not disrupted by towers, not disrupted by losses.
Yeah, he picks off the ram, which again slows down VortiX, but I'm assuming he's just going to build another ram and, let's do it again. And we do see that VortiX is mining gold. He has 600, but he doesn't have enough food. If he actually stops producing army, he can take up to castle, which I feel like would be kind of nail in the coffin for Leenock, because I don't think he's anywhere close to transitioning to castle and kind of continuing the game from then on out. I think he's fully committed to defending. We do see rams for Leenock though, so he will try to start working on those towers and maybe free up some of the resources for himself.
He's going to try to do that, finally get back to that wood line. He's got an absolutely abysmal wood income. That means he can only make horsemen. That means spearmen are his worst nightmare right now. Whereas VortiX, if he gets to Castle Age, he's got a whole host of different options. Beastyqt, Knights, Men-at-Arms, Mangonels, or just Veteran Longbowmen.
Yeah, so like you said, he can do so many things. And for Leenock in this position, it's so hard to know which one he's going to face. So you kind of have to blindly assume what the opponent is going to go and hope for the best in that situation. So a very, very tough position for Leenock. And we see in the army supply, it just reflects the current state of the game.
Was always going to be a hard challenge here for Leenock, fighting English on Dry Arabia with Chinese. Perhaps a misdraft, bit of a gamble, didn't work out. He gave it what for, had a pretty good chance. Maybe it was that pincer movement that Beastyqt described earlier in the game about 10 plus minutes ago. That was his opportunity, perhaps. But it looks like every hope has sailed already. The white flag must soon show because Leenock's town center is about to die, and with it, his ability to make villagers. VortiX is going for the killing blow. The landmark has been destroyed. VortiX looking good here in the first game, and GG is called. Leenock taps out. VortiX 1-0.
Yeah, very good play by VortiX in the end. I do think that English is one of those civs where it either looks terrible or it looks like how do you beat this?
Would you say it either looks like the 8th on the tier list and
yes.
sometimes the best?
Yes, I definitely would say so. Like it depends a lot on the engagements. like when you fight against English, I feel like this matters the most against them. When you go for an engagement against them, you have to be sure you're winning.
Yes.
Because if you attack and then you're like, oh wait, I'm losing, while you're running away, Longus will kill like 4 or 5 more units. So you have to make sure you're winning. And there was a lot of skirmishes where Leenock goes in and is like, actually, don't want to fight now, and you lose a horseman or two on the way out. And I think that this was one of those games where VortiX won, and it looked very convincing. But if he did that pincer attack when he had the chance, when the tower wasn't done, there was no network of castles buff, I think he would have simply won the game, because there were only, I think, 5 spearmen, and there was like, I think 16, 17, 18 horsemen. There were enough archers to pick up spearmen. He didn't go for it, and the game kind of delayed. From then on out, VortiX obviously started shutting down more and more resources, had good micro, and you know, if English player plays well and doesn't, you know, get kind of completely
caught off guard, caught out
right?
with their army.
It kind of looks like that, where it's like, well, how do you beat them? There was no point where Longbus could have, you know, died, and then every time he kills an army, there's another army coming. So I think well played by VortiX, and again, Chinese and Dry Arabia, not the greatest pick. Maybe try to, like I said, counter too hard. Maybe VortiX predicted it. Who knows?
He is very smart, so it is possible. Wouldn't put it beyond VortiX. But new map, new chances. Game number 2 of this best of 5 is about to be underway. It's going to be on High View, which is one of the comfort maps for Leenock. He had a choice of Altai or High View. It does mean there cannot be English on Altai anymore from VortiX, one of the most popular civilizations there, and we saw that in the first series, an English mirror. But it will be High View. They both have many civ options yet. Any guesses here? Is it possible to anticipate Beastyqt?
High View, I would probably go French or Abbasid for Leenock. He played French yesterday against me in High View, so I wouldn't be surprised if he does it, but maybe doesn't want to pick same civ on the same map, right, the next day. So I would expect... Abbasid is quite good on High View, so I would expect Abbasid there. VortiX, I feel like in LucifoN have very unique picks. Like they were playing Rus on land maps, which most of the other players don't. So I can see VortiX go for Rus if that's something that he wants to do. But I think both players, French, Abbasid, kind of makes sense. Oh, and we do see... I actually completely forgot about Mongols. VortiX picking Mongols on High View, and Leenock is going for French, like he did yesterday. But, you know, maybe VortiX saw those games and is like, you know what, I'll do a little gamble. You go for French, I go Mongols, and that's going to be a very good matchup for me, and it pays off.
All right, VortiX maybe with the draft advantage once again, and you know, they're starting out with their sheep scouting again, of course. Now, Leenock is in the red in the bottom right. He's gone for a double scout opening, and is kind of going with the, well, flower opening pattern. See, everything through the middle, and then branching off to the side like petals of a flower. So he's got that flower scouting pattern. Now it actually becomes a shape that I do not really recognize in the physical world anymore. And then when we look at VortiX, let's see how many scouts he has. He's only got 1 scout, but he also has a Khan, which counts as a scout. Oh wait, never mind. He's only got the Khan. Didn't make a second scout at all. Wants to have that streamlined economy where he makes the Ovu, goes in with the barracks, 1 minute 30 barracks. Feels a little late. I thought you can have an earlier barracks than 1:30.
I think that just... I'm not sure where his TC spawned, but this Uvu is very far away. I'll say that from his TC. And this is, you know, something for a little bit later on. If the tower rush doesn't go well, that Uvu is very exposed to counterattacks. And that's one of the points where Mongols do need that Uvu for stone production, and it being far away from TC, it becomes a lot harder to defend. So, yeah, you know, VortiX playing against French. Tower rush is obviously very, very good against French, and we will see how much experience Leenock has dealing with it, and how, you know, which way he decides to deal with it. Maybe he's going to go for his towers of his own, barracks, rush to feudal, maybe go archers. You can kind of do everything. It just, I think, depends on the player mostly.
I usually see a 2:30 move out with a villager where it starts to move. Now it's already over halfway across the map. That feels like a very early villager. Kind of like that. The risk is if a scout finds you and you take like 4 or 6 cheap shots early.
This is a bit of a problem.
Okay,
He
talk to us.
didn't scout the opponent, so this villager is going in blind.
Oh.
So he doesn't actually know where to put the tower. His con is delayed, so maybe mistimed the con scouting for the sheep. Like you can see, he's going blindly, but there's nothing there. He doesn't know where the wood line is. He doesn't know where the gold is. So you can see him just going. He's like, oh, there's the wood line, but he doesn't know if this is the first or second wood line. Luckily for him, it is the main one. But if Leenock, if this was the second one, he would be kind of delaying his own tower rush by quite a lot just by not scouting early on. And we see that the gold is all the way in the back. So even though he can delay the wood, the access to gold is still open. So maybe he can go knights and counterattack. We do see that the second wood line is very, very close. That's kind of up to Leenock, again, to see how he wants to defend and how he wants to fight it. One downside of tower rushing on high view is even if you tower rush the main two wood lines, there's so much wood everywhere in stealth forests, in the other wood lines, that you can kind of sneak a couple of workers and just get wood somewhere else.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So maybe it's a good map to get tower rushed on, even if it kind of feels bad to get tower rushed. Leenock, he is aging up. He's going to reach it at 4 minutes, which will expedite his villager production. Let's see if he's going to go for a knight. He doesn't currently have the right amount of gold for it, though. He's going back into gold. With his wood attribution, you would imagine he wants to get an archery range. Archers don't do anything against outposts, but they do stop the encroachment of future outposts by trying to target down the villager. That's going to be Leenock's chosen strategy as he segues into the trees that are close to his town center. You've got that travel time, but it is much safer. And he's going to get a few cheeky torch shots on the outpost in absence of the defending spearman.
Where's that villager? Is he going back home?
Let's look at the vision for VortiX. Nuance.
I don't like this position for VortiX.
Really?
Like, he didn't deny anything. And Leenock doesn't, he's mining this or chopping this wood because he doesn't realize that there's no more towers. He can actually just build a wood camp a little bit to the right and continue.
And
I find it very interesting that VortiX just stopped.
Well, let me explain what VortiX is doing, and then you can explain why you don't like it.
Sure.
The Mongols can go in with the tower rush and follow it up, leapfrogging to the next space and the next and the next. Denying one area of wood is not so useful when you freely give another equally accessible wood line. They spend 50 for another lumber camp. You spend 100 plus villager walking time to get the outpost. But Mongols have been doing so many tower rushes with the first, second, third, fourth, and so on, that they're trying to create this, well, switch up of cadence, where you're expecting more outposts, you're preparing with an overreaction, and then VortiX is trying to hit a leaner feudal age timing, a leaner castle age timing, and that's what he's trying to do here, upending expectations. Why don't you like it?
I feel like it's one of those things. I feel like if you commit, you should commit. I actually never played with someone doing one tower and just being like, okay, yeah, that's good for me. Like, if he did this, I would have much preferred if he did it between the two tree line or
but he couldn't.
forest.
He didn't know.
He didn't know, right? So this kind of, to me, feels like VortiX just delayed his feudal. I mean, this tower might get killed by scouts potentially, or harassed where spearmen have to go away. And let's not forget, if his plan is to go fast castle, Leenock can just go kill his Uvu. There's no army there, so he can go for a knight. He can go kill his Uvu with scouts and archers, actually, and that is a big issue for him. So. I personally really like Leenock's position. If you look at his sheep, by the way, something we haven't mentioned, he has so many right now. And he's going...
wow, he has 10 sheep, 7 herdables, and 3 carcasses, and he must have already devoured about 5. So let's say he gathered about 17 sheep out of 24. That means that Leenock... that means that VortiX only got about 7 or so. We look at what he has now. Well, he's got 6 because he's got pastures, but he's been forced into those pastures earlier. So
this is one downside of Mongol Tower. By the way, that Gur is misplaced. I don't think it's next to the gold, is it?
Yeah, you're right. It's 1 slot away. Actually, no, it is touching.
Is it?
Yeah, it is touching.
Okay, yeah, I'm wrong. So one good thing when you play against Mongols is they don't go for second scout when they tower rush. So actually most of the sheep on the map is just free for picking, right?
If you don't feel forced to bring back scouts to start harassing the villagers, get a few pot shots
You can just go and pick up all the sheep, and we see it here, right? VortiX had to go for super early pastures because he ran out of sheep because Khan is here the whole time. And Leenock just kind of took all the sheep on the map. So a nice position for him. We do see some harassment still, and we do see a blacksmith, and I'm assuming this is going to be for a ram, possibly?
Knight archer push or scout archer push with rams onto the ovu, or maybe just to clear up the singular outpost that is yet here.
Yeah, he kind of stopped making archers. He made 2 and then stopped. Yeah, spearmen are dying right now. We didn't see any knights yet, and yeah, we do see the professional scouts coming. Where's his mill?
Where is his mill?
You know, I was looking for it earlier. I was like, I guess no professional scouts, but he made like
On the
6
left?
scouts.
On the
Oh, on
bears?
the bottom side.
Wait, what? Oh, at the
There's bottom bears.
Okay.
Maybe he's trying to hide
I think
the
you're right.
fact that he's going for professional scouts from his opponent, which is a very interesting idea. It's like a small thing that can kind of do really well, because I don't think VortiX would have ran into that lumber camp if he knew professional scouts were on the table, because he can try and deny that with his spearmen. So yeah, Leenock is going to have plenty of food. He's going to have plenty of research to work with. His gold is uninterrupted. His wood line is getting harassed a little bit. I'm kind of surprised to not see a single knight, by the way, because I feel like one knight would just deal with this con extremely easily.
Well, look at Leenock's bank. He's pro scouting into
he's
castle age
castle
knights.
rushing. Okay, I like it.
And that's 5 scouts. He kind of hit the fact that he had that many scouts, didn't he? And if we look at VortiX, he actually becomes aware of it right now.
He might kill it.
Pop, pop, and
Kill
he turned around.
Oh, this is bad, guys.
Wow.
So, I didn't see Khan go to the south side, did he? He doesn't know how many villagers are on gold. He didn't see professional scouts getting upgraded, as you just saw. He got completely caught off guard. So, I don't think VortiX realizes that French player is somehow going to hit castle before Mongol, which is the whole point of the Mongol tower rush, right? You delay your opponent and you go castle yourself. And we do see VortiX going castle himself. He's probably maybe feeling a little, feeling good. You know, castle's coming. I got my production, got my pastures. And he's about to see the age up from French player first. So I like Leenock's position personally. I think if you're playing Mongol versus French, I think this is about as good as it gets.
And I'm impressed by Leenock's hesitation to overproduce army. You mentioned he had so few archer numbers before, and he was getting harassed. It was annoying by the Khan, losing an archer here and there, momentary disruption of his lumber line. But the 2, 3, 4 archers he made max, despite having the infrastructure to make more, really helped him to save up resources to go castle this quickly.
Yeah, he made bare minimum. You know, he didn't overcommit, and that allowed him that fast castle. And I don't know. I feel like this is uncomfortable position, like I said, for Mongol player, because you are supposed to be first in castle, and this is not something that happens every game. So I don't know how much experience VortiX personally has playing from not necessarily behind, but where he's not supposed to be. And one thing I like about Leenock's play is he likes getting the upgrades early. We see double X brought something X upgrade. We do see Wheelbarrow, which is a very, very good upgrade, and VortiX doesn't have a single one. Not from Blacksmith.
Yep.
He doesn't have that improved siege engineering coming. So yeah, like I said, really love Leenock's position, and he is choosing to go for very fast siege workshop.
Very interesting choices here in units. Leenock is going into Arbaletier that didn't require any special upgrades. He's got the Veteran Knight upgrade, despite not having a single knight to his name. VortiX went for Veteran Archer upgrade. He's getting archers, which are of course good into Arbaletier, and he's making knights.
I'm not sure.
That's a very late and weird archer play normally, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, normally I would say maybe he wants to make, siege units, but again, he doesn't have Blacksmith even. And I think Leenock is making the right call, right? If you're playing against Mongol and Mongol hits castle, what are they going to make?
Men-at-arms, knights,
Right.
lancers. Yeah.
That's pretty much it. So he's kind of just blind countering it, and he's taking a more defensive approach. Like you can see Leenock has a very defensive playstyle and wants to go to the late game. So you can see he's not like rushing to finish the game. Some of the other players maybe would go for that uvu and just go all out.
Right.
But he's kind of being like, okay, I know you're going to go Lancers and Men-at-Arms. I'll just make a couple of crossbows, defend, and just kind of play from there. And multitasking of Leenock is really, really good. So if he does go for knights of his own, one of the weaknesses of Mongol is getting graded because you cannot make any walls. So it kind of becomes very hard to deal with it.
Very interesting. Very nice response by each here. There's that one little villager that pulled the wool over VortiX's eyes in making a mill and hiding the Pro Scouts upgrade. She paid with her life, but much has been achieved. The deer have been brought back under the safety of the town center. Villagers just finished the mining pick upgrade from the mining camp and now had to stop gathering both stone and gold. Ironic. All villagers are being sent back. Just 2 knights here denying much income. And where is Leenock's army? He's got a knight here. His crossbows, are they still kind of towards the north defending the Khan? He certainly has a small army.
Yeah, they're slowly waddling, trying to defend. I'm not sure where his scouts went. I think they might be in the tower.
Maybe
near
we
the
can
gold.
see Leenock's vision only, so we can kind of appreciate what he knows about the map. So we see Leenock's vision. He's kind of got his own 1/5 of the map scouted right now. He's got that 1 tower on the gold. And when we click all of his army, we see 5 scouts, 1 archer, 9 arbaletier, and 1 knight.
He's running out of food, isn't he? I don't think... does he have any deer under his TC?
There are still deer on the map, but I believe you're right. It looked like they were very congregated, the villagers on this town center.
Yeah. I feel like all the villagers are 1 or 2 carcasses only, so... Yeah, the night harassment is starting, and Leenock is paying attention somewhere else. Like, he needs to try and maybe split these crossbows, because VortiX is doing these small attacks on a couple of different sides. So if he manages to get that under control, he does actually same work account right now. French is producing a bit faster on those villagers, but Mongols obviously get very good value from step readout. So neither player also going for monasteries, by the way, which I find interesting because it's kind of free, right? Neither Civ specifically wants to go for it, but it's obviously a very nice bonus the longer the game goes.
It is a difficult decision sometimes. I'm someone that likes to get it every single time when I get to castle. But
Well, there it is.
Well,
there it is.
But it does draw a little bit away from an idea of a laser-focused attack or defense. That's 300 wood for the monastery, 150 gold for a single monk unit, and more if you want to have multiple monks out on the same time. But if you're getting eco upgrades, it really fits that idea of preparing for the late game, doesn't it?
Yeah, and yeah, I agree with that. And I think the thing is both players were kind of passive. And I feel like maybe Leenock wasn't in position for it because he's kind of getting harassed. But I think VortiX kind of has the whole map, right? He is the one being aggressive. So also he can do the taxi service with the relics, you know, just running around his monastery everywhere, picking them up. But
oh, damn, yeah.
He just decides to... I guess he's just skipping it and is going for timing. And we do see, again, almost no upgrades for VortiX.
Springled placement Outpost. He's trying to defend here. And I think it's hitting the Khan. It hit him twice already. A third and a fourth will take down the Khan. Could be nice. Here's the third shot.
This is really good. Can't just...
Khan is dead.
Oh, he's still alive.
No, it's going to die now. It's going to die now.
Oh, that's bad.
Bad for Leenock.
Sorry,
bad for VortiX.
Yeah, because the Khan can give the attack speed upgrade right for the archers. It gives so much vision and just does a lot of damage in castles. So that's kind of a big loss straight away. We do see Springles from Leenock picking off VortiX's Springles first, so he actually got the advantage. VortiX recognizes that he's going to lose the second one and just instantly runs away.
Arbaletier trying to form a kind of tunnel here where knights can't fully come through it. It's effective. He does move back and he breaks that little magic because he doesn't want to get hit by the archers. Arbaletier doing good damage to the knights. They're actually straight up going for the Springles. We do hear more relic pickups. There were 2 relics picked up by Leenock, but none were able to be brought back. Both monks die.
Yeah, and we do see Springles slowly. This Mangonel doesn't want to overcommit. I'm kind of surprised by I feel like low amount of units from Leenock.
Yes.
I expected, 6 to 8 knights are going to come in together with all these ranged units, but I feel like VortiX currently has so many more. And yeah, we did see earlier 2 men-at-arms pop out, and obviously they're going to be very nice now into mass archers, but he kind of needs to hold and possibly make that transition. But I find it very interesting that he did upgrade those knights, but then only I feel like made 2.
Did he?
Yeah, I don't think he's made more, which is a bit interesting.
Like I didn't even see those 2 knights, Beasty.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what the reasoning behind it is, because like I said, one of the weaknesses of Mongols is knights and harassing. So I felt like he might go for kind of crossbow siege defense while harassing with knights, but he just kind of opts for very, very defensive play. And that
Monk, more like bonk, am I right?
that guy's not having a good day. So, I mean, the relics are almost there. You know, in a couple of more monks, I'm telling you, they're gonna be right near those flowers, and that's basically in.
All right, new Springles and Mangonels are coming in here from VortiX.
Oh,
He's
snipes another
continuing
one.
the attack. Yeah, nice Springled snipes, but I mean, VortiX has the advantage here.
Yeah,
Villager count, army
VortiX
count.
doesn't see, by the way. Remember, he has no vision of the Springled in the back unless it shoots, which is why he's losing Springles first, because that Khan died. And that makes a huge, huge difference in the fight. And you can see VortiX goes back, right? We see what's happening, and we see like, oh, you can push, right? But he doesn't see, and he doesn't know what's there, so he's kind of taking it a little bit slower. Oh, yoink.
Oh.
Goodbye, Relic.
Wow, okay, so he's bringing that relic back. Leenock's big investment didn't pay off. Mind you, he lost 3 monks and he hasn't been able to use the monastery. That's 750 resources that Leenock spent
Oh,
that have
Mangonel.
not helped here. As Mangonel just immediately gets targeted down by those Springles. Leenock has this crossbow archer army that is particularly fragile against the Mangonel that yet remains.
Yeah, so this is really tough for Leenock, and this is the power of Mongols. You know, they can make siege on the battlefield, while Leenock has to make one by one. And while these crossbows are doing a great work holding, the siege count for VortiX is kind of slowly increasing. Oh, the repairs on the Springald, okay. He might get a second Springald with that one, so that's really good play. But the tower is going down. Oh, Khan going down again. That is a big thing again, and he's losing all the vision. And you see, Khan goes down, and he's like, I'm out of here, right? Because I don't know what's there, and he will always lose these Springald trades because the opponent will see his Springalds, but he won't see his opponents until they shoot.
I'm glad you keep pointing it out, because as an observer, you've got that luxury of seeing everything.
Right.
Many viewers aren't understanding why he would go back, and that's absolutely why.
Not to mention these tree lines are super, like, they're kind of blocking a lot of the vision as well, and it's just kind of messy entry point. There's this monastery that's also blocking a lot of it, so...
It's the only thing it's been good for.
I mean, yeah.
Second TC from Leenock. He kind of squeezed it out. It's kind of a mixed blessing, because it meant that once again he could not get a large army. Basically, the whole game Leenock hasn't really had army. That TC certainly didn't help. It does give him a kind of rubber band to get back into it, but for TCs take minutes to pay off, even at this stage in the game. And he's still being attacked. Does get that first shot in again with the Springles.
Yeah, so he gets the first shot, loses, but now he's going to get a first shot. And this was, what, 4, 5 Springles versus 3? 4 versus 3, and you can see he's trading better. He shoots, he runs, VortiX loses vision, and now Leenock can shoot again and pick off another Springle. So he's making good trades, but I do feel like he just lacks infantry. I mean, VortiX's army is now, what is this, 2 knights and just mass crossbows and archers. So if Leenock gets an overwhelming army, he can kind of just swoop through his opponent. But he is currently 2 villagers behind, and you can see that he did lose a lot of villagers to the attack, you know, repairing on the wood line. So he will slowly take the villager count as this game progresses. And, you know, VortiX is just being aggressive continuously. He does have 2 relics in his monastery, and Leenock, even though he's made a couple of monks, still 0.
Yeah, it got that one relic kind of close by, but never was able to bring it back. That is a lot of Springles. We're counting about 6 or so together with a Mangonel. VortiX is rich. He's killed a number of buildings here. They have given him raid bonus, 25 food and 25 gold each. Leenock actually has gotten housed now. His Springles is being delayed. He must be rushing a house out somewhere. And he's got 2 archery ranges, a siege workshop, 3 barracks. You can see that he has veteran knight upgrades, but is not using it.
That is ambitious. Yes, that is ambitious. That is.
Yeah.
This is where you play some motivational music as these workers are trying to build this keep. I mean, this is. If Leenock make this keep, you can do anything, okay? And all right, this keep going down.
He lost like 150 stone in the cancel fees for the damage he took during its construction. That's so he can't actually make another keep again.
Yeah, this is. I mean, the Springles count is just insane for VortiX right now. He just had so many more, and slowly but surely, the Mongols are overtaking the French.
Knight now in the villager line. Leenock's second town center is getting harassed. VortiX's never-ending assault is now coming to a climax as he's penetrating deep into Leenock's base. And Leenock was unable to use some of the cool, nifty things he did this game, including pro scouts, including hiding the mill, including getting the Knight upgrade, including killing the Khan 4 times. He was unable to really bring it about to bear to create any form of meaningful advantage, as his passivity completely gave agency to VortiX, never counterattacked, and even in defense he didn't make a critical army to once and for all overwhelm the army of VortiX, similar to the symptoms that he had last game in the Chinese versus English game.
Yeah, and we do see that rolled inspirational music, another keep coming in. I mean, this time a little bit less motivational, you know, a little bit maybe more reasonable keep.
So if you pull this off, you can do almost everything.
You can do half the things you want to do, guys. Maybe not everything, but half the things. We do see Mango coming in. You can do half the things, but there will be some losses, just like the villagers that are trying to build this keep. Because at the end of the day, if this keep goes up, VortiX can just rotate and go to the other side. So the keep is going to help defending, but it will not stop these attacks in any way or form. So yeah, a lot of villagers lost there. We see 76 against 60 right now, and almost double the supply.
Yeah, that's very nicely orchestrated there by VortiX. He continues to make more siege buildings. This time it's going to be rams. Siege towers are crying. They are not being looked at whatsoever. It's a really useless building, actually, useless structure. No, it's going to be rams. 3 rams will take down a keep. It's not going to be super fast, but it kind of puts a timer on that keep and forces villagers to come out and repair. They can take some garrison shots as you move in and out of it. Looks like he cancelled one of the rams and is just making more springholds also. VortiX still without a single economy upgrade to his name. Does of course have that readout. The Yam Ara, both of them are eco upgrades as well, but it's really focused on attack.
VortiX, by the way, ran out of stone about 10 minutes ago.
How do you know?
Because it's the same move from the start.
Oh yeah, and
he never replaced it.
It's like what, 14, 16 minutes, or?
I don't know the exact number, but I think it's
been
about
a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Why leave the Ovu there and not rebuild it?
He forgot. That's pretty much it. There's no reason not to, right? You get double unit production. So he's been, I mean, that is the first Uber, right? Because that's where it started.
Isn't it true the only reason it would make sense to keep it there is if you have passengers connected to it? And
right.
You can't be bothered.
And he doesn't, right? So
yeah, the passengers are on the TC.
Yeah. So I think he's just maybe it's one of those games where you're like, oh, I'm winning, right? I'm about to win.
Right.
I'm about to win. And 10 minutes later, he's still winning, but you know, maybe not going as planned, or maybe it's not ending the game quite.
Why should I be perfect if my current play is more than good enough and you're lingering in a game that I've won 10 minutes ago, theoretically?
Yeah, so we do see like now production is camped, and I mean, this has to be some super inspirational music for this one. If this army beats this army, then
you can still do it.
if he just gets the sickest around and VortiX disconnects, he can definitely win this one. Yeah, looking rough for Leenock. I thought the start was really good for him, honestly.
Yeah.
I found the transition maybe a little bit questionable.
Do you find it hard to judge why he had not so much army, or is it clear from the steps that he took?
Well, he made Siege Workshop very early, but then he didn't use it. So maybe he had too many workers on wood. Like maybe if that was double stables extra and then produced 3 knights at a time. If you think about it, I mean, French knights are the best knights, right?
Right.
So he could have contested VortiX's knights. He could have run under the VortiX DC. He had upgrades.
VortiX made more than 6 spearmen, the ones he started with. So
yeah, he didn't make any. Yeah.
Against Mongol lancers and archers,
right.
knights would have been great.
If he just went pure knights, yes, maybe it would have forced crossbows, right? But crossbows are slow. We saw when Leenock was defending with crossbows, that wasn't the greatest, right? Because they're slow, it takes a while. And Leenock actually has very good knight micro and multitasking, so I'm very surprised that he didn't opt for that route and kind of force VortiX into this mass knight versus mass knight all over the place. We do see some red units on the north side.
Okay.
Okay, so...
Well...
Yeah. Guys, when you see your workers next to opponents' workers on his side of the map, that is not a good sign. That does not mean you're winning.
This is the only wood line that I can gather from
Wolf,
safely.
and Wolf is and Wolf is attacking him. So
Guard dog from VortiX doing its job. It's a slow job, but it's an honest job. Leenock's barracks and buildings are being destroyed here. Killing this base not only will win VortiX the game, but it also will give him enough resources for Imperial. Leenock finally decided enough stalling. He's 0-2. He did lose to Mongols. He did have a bad matchup. If I were to rationalize why I would be coming back in a 3-2 score in a best of 5, I would have a very clear narrative that I could convince myself. It's like, well, you know, Chinese against English, and this is Mongols, so whatever, let's move on to the next, and we can do this.
yeah, I definitely agree with that. He did lose one of his good civs though, so that is a little bit
Chinese.
of a yeah. So if, for example, VortiX used H3 in the first map and he beat Chinese and now he used Mongols, you can say, okay, he used really good 2 civs. And now I can start my comeback because let's not forget Leenock still has Abbasid, which he plays very well. He still has his own Mongols, right?
Yes.
So
Which he does not play very well.
But it's a very good civ, so he kind of plays itself in a way, right?
Oh.
You don't need to, know much about it to play it super well. So that's potentially 2 maps that I would say are probably Leenock favored. And then 5th map, I know Leenock plays English. He does play some of the other civs, and we kind of need to look at the maps and figure out what the players want to play.
Yes. Well, we know the map. It's going to be Altai.
Right, the Altai is next. So let's see. Leenock has English, Mongols, H3, Abbasid, and Rus. So I would say for him, English and Abbasid are definitely possible here. I don't think Leenock plays a lot of Rus, to be honest. And on VortiX's side, he can go for Chinese. He can go for Abbasid. He can even go HRE, which I think is decent on this map. And we saw that VortiX plays Rus on land maps, so he can actually go Rus as well, or French. So it's a very open map for him, while on the other side, Leenock does have some limitations in what he likes to play and on which maps he likes to play certain civs. So I think from VortiX's side, he can kind of narrow it down what he might face. While on Leenock's side, I feel it's kind of like, I'm going to play this and just see what happens. So it's less, I guess, strategic in a way. So some people would say Leenock should pick Mongols here because if he loses, he's out. But let's not forget that he needs to win next 3. So while picking Mongols here is the best thing to do right now, it might not be the best thing to do in the long run because you still have to win the other 2 games. So you kind of, as Leenock, you have to say, okay, I have 3 maps. I need to pick 3 civs on these 3 maps, which are going to give me the best chance to win.
Yep.
And VortiX needs to say, what do I pick right now to win?
Do you, as VortiX, think I want to win this one, or do you say I can gamble and experiment more?
I think that's up to the player.
Yes,
I think
both is valid.
I think if you, for example, if VortiX loved playing French on this map like he is, that's his best civ on this map, I think you pick it if you're super confident against the other civs that Leenock has. But if you're maybe not too confident, maybe you use your civs you usually play, I would say go for the safer play for the long run. So we do see Leenock picking English in Altai and VortiX going for French. And this is the perhaps meta gaming and kind of countering I was talking about.
Yep.
I said Leenock will most likely pick English Abbasid. He plays those civs quite a lot. Altai is a very good map for English. I don't think a lot of players...
Oh, God.
Oh, that was very close. I don't think a lot of players specifically pick French on this map. French has better maps.
Yes.
But maybe VortiX looked at this and said, you might play Abbasid or English. That's a 50-50.
Is it? Between the 2 picks.
Between the 2,
sure.
right. So he's like, I'll take those chances. I'll play French here. That maybe is not insanely good. But if I run into English, that's maybe a matchup I like playing. So
do you think that's the extent of the evaluation when it comes to French-English? Is it about do you like it, or do you think that there is a clear advantage to either civ?
I think French has the advantage, to be honest.
In this matchup?
Yes, because the counter to English's play is Horseman Archer. And it's actually a mistake to go Knight Archer.
Sure.
Because Knights are more expensive. But Horsemen are cheaper from the French landmark. So they can actually make quite a lot more.
Cheaper? Quicker?
Are they cheaper as well?
No.
20%?
No, only if you have a keep nearby.
Sure.
I'm just drawing
Now I'm
this out.
questioning
'Cause
myself.
I'm drawing this out.
Guys, I don't know much about the game.
So,
I just play it. I don't know much.
As far as I know, there's a baseline enlistment incentives
Right.
when a keep is next to a stables or an archery range, and then you can upgrade that in Imperial. So it's only cheaper once you have
I don't know
that.
much about specifics, so you're probably right. But even so, like 20.
I just want to say, wow, Beasty, I'm
Thank you.
impressed that you're that good without knowing this.
I mean, the thing is, like, when someone asks me what time does the feudal hit, I'm like, I don't know. I don't look at the time. I
Just go feudal.
I just play. Like, also when, like, for example, if people go fast castle, they're like, what's a good time for fast castle? I'm like, I don't know. But when I'm in game, when I play, I feel like, oh, this is fast castle. You know, like, this is really good time. So, anyway, even with 20% faster production, right? It's still an advantage that French Civ has over other civs.
Yeah, you don't need as many stables.
And they get 3 stables, right? That's number one. They get faster production, so French counter English the same way other civs do, but they have those 2 bonuses that are working for them. So, in my opinion, it's a good civ against them.
Okay.
Not to mention, with French, you can sneak in wheelbarrow extremely fast. You can go professional scouts, and all those things kind of mount up to the same thing where you have the same food, your workers run away faster, and English is usually on kind of like a timer because the longer the game goes, French have faster worker production,
so
they will get ahead.
burden to deal damage.
Right. Where French is more like they can stay and eventually just kind of overwhelm the English player.
Okay, you've set the stage for that matchup here, and then there's the player preferences, skills, and propensity to make mistakes or not. Now let's kind of look at that early game as we look at both players' visions and how many sheep they've gotten. Keep in mind there's 24 sheep on this map. We've got 8 sheep right now here for Leenock, and he probably chewed through about 3 or so already. So that's about 11, just under half. And he attributed 1 scout of scouting to that. So that's really respectable. Then for VortiX, VortiX has 8 sheep as well. Probably went through about a similar number. So maybe there's still a few sheep that are not taken on the map that kind of escaped the culling of the herds. So with 2 scouts for VortiX, I would say that Leenock has the small upper hand there in the scout route. And that is not unique. He had the upper hand in the sheep collection, whether or not he went for multiples in all games so far, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a little bit of the early game and how that shakes out. Now VortiX is going for that wheelbarrow upgrade that is cheaper and can be slotted in easily as a French player. He's immediately gone into an archery range, and his current allocation of villagers is about 50-50 between food and wood, 0 on gold. That means he will be going for horsemen and archers. That's roughly the split you want when you're making equal parts.
Yeah, so we do see the Horseman Archer deflection there, or attempt to do so. We don't see the super early tower now because, Leenock knows that Horseman or a Knight is possible super early on, so you want to wait for a Spearman or 2 before moving out. Uh-oh.
Oh, that's a villager.
That is not a good start for Leenock. I mean, even if it survives, it's going to be, a little bit damaged, and a couple of archer shots, maybe a Horseman hit that goes down, so... nice little start for VortiX. He didn't lose pretty much any health on his horseman. Got some damage in the villagers, so I would say a pretty nice start. And we do see wheelbarrow also done for VortiX. So again, that is with the slight worker production boost on French plus wheelbarrow. Those are like the little small advantages you're looking for, and it just makes it so that Leenock's army has to be more efficient in trading because VortiX will have more resources.
So Leenock is entrenching himself right at the center point where the 2 bases meet. He's using longbows in a small little skirmish. Even as the wolf is chasing the horseman, there's more hits on the villager. It takes 6 shots to take the villager down. And he got those 2 shots earlier, maybe about 3 or so it was easier to finish off the villager without losing a single horseman. Archers were a lightning distraction there for VortiX. He lost some of them, but he's pleased with his result of delaying the first outpost. In terms of the map generation, VortiX can certainly count his lucky stars. You look at his base, and he's got his wood line tucked away at the back, and his gold also. Currently not interested in gold, but very easy to resume. This is about the worst possible generation that Leenock could expect. Going English on Altai, You're not guaranteed to get a good position to build Outpost and deny wood, and he certainly drew the shorter end of the stick.
Yeah, he's trying to rebuild that tower, but again, it's getting pushed back by VortiX. I mean, pretty good target fire from Leenock, honestly. He is killing the archers, and 2 archers cannot kill spearmen fast enough, so I think like he's trading okay. The question is okay enough? Is that what he's looking for, right? This tower will go up now, and 2 horsemen should go down, potentially. Gets 1 and gets 2. So yeah, good target fire. I do think this was a better trade for Leenock. The tower has been delayed. And this is what I was talking about earlier in the previous English matchup we had. You got to pick these fights, but every time you don't pick the right fight, that's what happens, right? So he lost an archer and 2 horsemen while retreating. And I really liked the first delay on the tower. He got the villager. The second one didn't do much. He didn't kill the villager. No, he didn't kill the villager. He delayed the tower, sure, but then he didn't engage the army. He could try to run away. So that's kind of how English snowballs slowly. You know, it's very subtle at times where you're like, where did it go wrong? Well, that fight, first one, good for VortiX. Second one, really good for Leenock.
Gotta be on top of your decision making against English every single time. As you swoop in, you're taking damage from 700 range against the bows, and the same is true on the way out with horsemen. So you've got 1400 range of ground to cover as you thunder with your hooves closer to the longbows and then back again. And you only have that short, precious time of actual melee combat when you are there. If you even find that to be tenable with the spearman protecting the longbows. So a quick survey of the situation and then deciding to fight or not, absolutely key, as explained by Beastyqt.
Oh, nice pickoff.
A little bit less vision is going to make it harder to respond to longbow attacks on villagers.
So Leenock just sent a scout all the way around, and I think he's scouting for gold. He wants to know if his opponent is rushing or attempting to go castle, or what is he doing. Because we see Leenock with a lot of gold income, and I think that he might be, question mark, slowly moving towards castle. We just saw him upgrade.
Wheelbarrow.
There it is. No, he has wheelbarrow. He's getting the eco upgrade for his wood choppers.
He loves that one. He
loves eco upgrade. So he has, I think, 4 workers on gold, so I'm not sure if this is like, I'm going to put pressure, slowly move towards castle, or this is just for eco upgrades and he's kind of like feigning pressure. He's just sitting here. Because French player...
Oh, that's
a lot of units, yeah. Because we do see that Leenock did cut some units, and if you compare the armies right now, you will see that that is definitely the case. Only 3 spearmen, and I think he had 3 spearmen in the previous fight.
That's a big army there for VortiX. Once again, he's the one that made army. Leenock is the one that goes into these eco upgrades. It's actually a perfect test case here for showing why eco upgrades can be good and why they may not be good. That upgrade is not paying off yet. He has less army. VortiX once again pulling the trigger, catching Leenock, and I think that's been the theme of this series so far. Making army and then fighting is better than fighting without making army. Leenock has that late game with the double broad axes, but he's losing so much right here, Beastyqt.
Yeah, he's losing so much. The workers are going down. He will, you know, hold, right? He won't die. We saw in the French game that he does stay. He stays quite a bit into the game, so...
It depends on your definition of dying.
Right. He is not gone right now, guys. Give him 5 minutes. So I actually initially really liked VortiX's, you know, push here. But he only killed about 7, 8 villagers because French does have that better...
I think 6 so far.
Better worker production, right. But he actually lost his whole army.
Well,
like, this is his army.
He's going castle in a minute or 2.
Right. There's that.
And he killed... he was 4 workers ahead, or 5 before this. Now he's 14, so he killed 9.
Yeah.
And he's saving up to go castle. Already has the allotted amount of gold. And if he stops making anything except villagers, he can age up at 12 minute 20. And what does Leenock have? He's got that gold in the bank. His food economy has been dumpstered. He's got double broad axes, but wasn't mining lumber for a while. Only 4 farms here.
We did see the esports shake. As
did
you
Leenock
like to,
do the esports head shake?
He just did the...
yeah, I inducted Beastyqt
30
yesterday.
to 45 degrees, I would say.
Yeah, if the chin moves to the opposite direction of the forehead, that is the esports head shake.
Right.
You're saying you confirm you saw this, right?
I confirm I did see, and I think Chad can confirm as well. We did see a 30 to 45 degree esports head shake. So Leenock not happy with the situation. You know, he knows what time it is. He knows that it was not good for him. And the scariest part is he doesn't know if there's a second army being built or he's just going castle. And yeah, we do see confirmation from the chat. So
okay, thank you for confirming that, Harasus.
yeah, we do see the lip eating right now. You know, eating his mouth a little bit, just kind of.
A lot of signals here that Leenock also doesn't think he's in a great position.
Yeah, he's definitely kind of, you know, telling us
where he's at
guys,
mentally.
It's not looking good.
Yeah. On the other hand, he is getting forestry upgrades, so that's gonna.
Right. So maybe that's the comeback, right? He just chops through his opponent's army. Who knows? Maybe he uses those axes in a fight. But yeah, we do see VortiX, you know, doing a little bit of a harassment. Won't get much done, but it's just a tough spot for Leenock, I think, because if you stop making units, an opponent attacks, you die. If you don't make units and you go castle, it's like, is the opponent gonna get second TC? Is he gonna go eco upgrades? And we do see VortiX just queuing up, just getting everything. Right?
We'll be talking about this game the rest of the day if Leenock ends up coming back and winning this.
Yes, I would be. He's getting that campfire because he does need to camp in order to win this. But I'm not sure if this is the right kind of camping he needs.
Yeah, well, let's see how that goes. A little bit of a corridor here being found by VortiX. He goes around, loops around the side. Network of citadels is activating for these villagers, but they haven't the heart to fight. This foe is beyond any of them, and they fly. As for VortiX, he furthers his economy advantage, 17 villagers. Had that large gold bank, didn't convert it into a castle age. Really thought he was going to go ahead towards that, but he's just like, nah.
Yeah, I find it interesting that he's just kind of still going for it. I think a lot of players would, or some players, I guess, not a lot, but would choose to just stop unit production and just go castle, perhaps. But that is also a bait where I've lost games myself where I beat the English army and I'm like, okay, no unit production, castle, and as I'm aging up, they never stop making units and they go across and they deny my food, and I'm just like, God, why didn't I just keep making units? Like, this is such a, you know, silly way to die. And we do see, you know, quite a big move out from Leenock. I'm not sure what the unit count is looking for VortiX right now. 24 against 23, so pretty equal. But
he's making non-stop horses and archers, but he had a 800 gold bank before, and he just made every single blacksmith upgrade there is, and horticulture and broad axes. So basically every economy upgrade is like a mini expansion.
Right.
Got the TC.
It takes a little bit of time to pay off, right? So
right, and you know it costs much less, so it's really just like a percentage of an expansion. Maybe like consider it like 5 or 10% of an expansion, without the necessary food investment afterwards. You can say that the town center costs 700, but you also have to build it, power build it. Then you have to make many villagers out of it. We can say a TC will definitely cost 1,200 resources. An economy upgrade costs like 175 or something like that, or maybe 225. So it's at least 5 times as cheap, but it also pays off earlier, and you can kind of sneak it in between. So that's what VortiX is doing here, but that's also very much a message that he's never going to go Castle Age.
I actually think that if Leenock just runs back, he almost has enough for castle.
True.
I'm not saying he's in a good position. Like,
no.
he's 20 workers behind. But if I'm English, this is as good of a possibility of a comeback as you can have. He's going to get castle, and he's going to get that landmark for
King's Palace, right?
King's Palace, right? And yeah, he's still going to be behind on workers probably for the next 10 minutes, even with that double production. But that gives you a fighting chance. Because if VortiX, I feel like, just went castle straight away, I think the game's over.
Right.
You know, Men-at-Arms come out, maybe Siege comes out, maybe Keep on the middle. And meanwhile, Leenock is, you know, getting the forestry upgrades, and he's getting campfire and stuff. So I think it'd be very rough for him. But I don't mind this position. Obviously, this is a huge army from VortiX, and he needs to defend this.
This is an awkward timing, because Leenock is going to click King's Palace right here, right meow. He's going to do that with... That's not enough. He needs to put 22 villagers
he needs
on
to
it.
get everything on that right now, and I'm not sure if you're near enough, you can hear the little click up.
Really?
So, yeah. So VortiX had units on the other side, but he did not... or maybe he did not see it or hear it. I'm not sure. We do see units coming in. This is not enough horsemen though. Like they're gonna go down really quick, and then this TC will just completely farm the rest of the archers really quick. So I kind of wonder from VortiX's side, like he's probably making units just to make sure he doesn't die to a counterattack, but he definitely needs to go castle his own, which is slowly but surely coming. And Leenock is probably just like trying to get that landmark up and kind of go from there. But you know, more workers falling, and
that's another 4 villagers going down. No, excuse me, there's just 3 villagers going down, no problem at all. Spearmen getting attacked by archers here. VortiX has the required amount of resources accumulated to go to Castle Age as well. He may even reach it earlier with Leenock constantly being denied. There we go, that's going to be the guild hall. I was thinking, is it crazy to imagine that he could have got...
Let me stop you right there. Let me stop you right there, hold up.
But if you though...
No. I mean, I do think it's not a bad option. I just think it's very all in, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I'm going to try to kill my opponent right now.
But he has been kind of all in, making that many horsemen and trying to push the issue constantly into a garrisoned English town center.
Right.
Is it though? So he's going for the guild hall. He's going to get stone. It takes about 4 to 5 minutes for him to get 800 stone out of it. He can make a keep somewhere. I actually think he did the mistake where you reaffirm click villagers on the landmark and then shift away. But then you misclicked. You clicked inside, or you like dragged your villagers. They stopped actually building that landmark for a bit for VortiX.
That is unfortunate for him, and this is very, what do we say, optimistic again from Leenock. Like I find it so scary because he's pushing across the map, but he doesn't know what's there. You know,
no vision.
No vision, and I'm just like, oh god, if he had like 3 knights, right? Yeah. He would just completely get, you know, mowed down, as I like to say. But you know, only 1 horseman. He's gonna maybe trade a little bit here, which I'm not actually sure who it favors because it kind of takes away the aggression from VortiX. Yeah. And we do see him pulling back, so you know he gets a couple of units on the way back. So nice little trades for Leenock, and actually kind of impressive. He is half the workers, right? Yeah. And he has more army. Right, more army, but I feel like maybe VortiX overextending under TC twice and losing a lot of workers. He did kill workers, but you know there's a limit.
Losing a lot of horses.
Losing a lot of horses, right? Losing that front line. Like killing a worker for a horseman, that's good. But the thing is, he lost like 10 horsemen for 3 workers.
Yeah, maybe
like
5 or...
Right, and then it comes a point where Leenock is not losing the army, right? Because he had longbows in the back just shooting the whole time. So, yeah, like I said, come back very hard, but this is probably the best possible outcome for Leenock to actually reach castle the same time as his opponent. And now he is on double TC. So now VortiX has an option. Do I go for stone and second TC and drag this game out, but secure a win, right? Because I'm just going to have so many more workers. Or do I just try to finish? And VortiX is one of those players that I don't think will be going for second TC. And the thing is, while that is a correct choice to finish the game right now, if it doesn't work out, suddenly the game is even. Yeah. And if you couldn't close out the game when you were 20, 30 workers ahead, then if the game is even, what happens then? And we know that Leenock is very comfortable in, you know, this is my side of the map, that is your side of the map, let's fight it out. And I don't think VortiX has maybe had as much practice as Leenock did in those kinds of situations.
Let's see how it goes. So far, VortiX has got the upper end every time, and he's going for an army composition that looks extremely well suited to dealing what Leenock has brought to the field. Arbaletier, the French equivalent of crossbows that have bonus melee and ranged armor. The ranged armor is an activatable that is active for a bit. It takes them from 0 to 5 armor or something, or to 6. They can get an upgrade that's fairly expensive that gives them more melee armor, and they have the usual versus heavy bonus damage. They're particularly good into knights and men-at-arms. It just so happens that Leenock is going for men-at-arms. He does have that special Chad armor upgrade that the English are endowed with. 4 baseline armor for men-at-arms that's brought to 6 from the special upgrade. He's got a 7th ranged armor upgrade, so he is going to take less damage from Arbaletier, but they're still very well countered by the knights and crossbows that VortiX is making, and they're backed up by several mangonels. the veteran longbowmen are particularly susceptible to mangonel shots. He's going to have to spread them well and use springles.
Oh my god, he just, oh my god, a deer.
He will stop at nothing to secure food sources.
He's testing the springles. They do work, so he will try them on the opponent now. Now, this is a similar situation we saw before, right? Obviously, Leenock has a bit more army in the Mongol and French game. The difference is he cannot build siege on the field. And Leenock, you know, figured he's probably going to go mangonel, so I'm going to go springles, and the siege numbers are equal right now. So he will not be able to just produce 5 springles now as French and completely overwhelm springles from his opponent. So again, Leenock is getting into this position that I feel like is more comfortable for him. And the longer the game goes, I do think that, again, while behind on workers, Leenock is kind of sitting back in his chair and probably like, oh, okay, let's, you know, split the map, let's get some siege, let's get some longbows. Maybe start mining stone soon. Get some stone walls going.
Sure, yeah.
Longbows on stone walls are incredibly good.
It's surprising he's not doing that.
Right. That would like actually be quite insane for him because if you think about it, VortiX doesn't have man-at-arms, so
Yeah,
he has
can't.
no way of getting up.
Yeah.
Knights won't be able to do anything, and then VortiX's range units won't be able to do much. Even mangonels actually don't do a lot of damage on units on the walls.
He has
so
like 17 damage to hit. Longbows have what, like 100 health? I'm not sure exactly how much. Maybe the observer can click one of the longbows so
we
can
don't
see
know
their
much
health.
about health or cost reduction or, you know, build time, landmarks. I mean, who pays attention?
Can we click on a single longbowman observer?
We're trying to learn here, guys.
Longbow, yeah, okay, 80.
80.
So 17 damage. That's like 5 mangonel shots to kill a longbow on the stone wall.
You
or so.
spread them out a little bit. You know, you have springles of your own. I think it's something that, and he doesn't even need a huge wall. I don't mean like wall of his whole base. Just put like a 4 or 5 tile stone wall. Yeah, and just have it in the middle. Because let's not forget, longbows get that extra range, so they will actually be able to cover quite a bit of the ground. They will
How much?
+2.
For a total of what?
For a total of
No, don't show him.
9, actually.
Damn it. Bad ops. Bad. Good ops. Good.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Anyway, I mean, numbers, guys. Potato, you know what I mean? I mean, they
Yeah.
shoot far. That's all we got to know.
I'm talking to someone that won all his series, by the way, here.
That's,
His name is Beastyqt, by the way. Check him out on
hey,
twitch.tv.
they just shoot far, you know? I know which unit has more range than which unit. That's about it.
All right, fair enough. Big attack here from VortiX. He's got a number of knights still as scouts, which is actually nice for vision and should not be overlooked, no pun intended. He's got a lot of archers here. He's got arbaletier as well. 2 mangonels, a couple of springles. We've got a hill here that can kind of make situations funny. Network of Sentinels upgrade is giving springles extra attacks. He's getting 4 shots on the first. But because of the ranged armor, Mangonel survives 3 shots. Oh, was that a springled emplacement outpost that got the final shot in?
Oh, this is the dreaded hill springled versus springled fight. So for those that don't know, that little hill that tower is, you can see it's not flat. And what happens is springles are unable to shoot the other siege units, so you will see sometimes awkward movement where springles are moving forward instead of just shooting, and that is because there's this uneven ground and springles are not able to shoot. Meanwhile, mangonels, because it's kind of, you know, comes from the air.
They lob an arc. Yeah.
Right. So they can shoot, so in order for springles to actually attack, they have to go forward, but then they're exposed to the enemy springles. So kind of a little bit of a weird and awkward situation. But if Leenock goes for trebuchets and puts them, you know, downhill, if he goes for trebuchets, put them downhill, he can actually kill this keep, and springles won't be able to attack the trebuchets unless they come really close. So you kind of have to, in these situations, try to use this to your advantage in any way you can. So.
And there we go. 1 trebuchet finishes even now for Leenock. He's going to be able to start putting on some pressure on that keep. And while 1 trebuchet can be out-repaired by about 2 to 3 villagers for minimal cost, it's funny that when you bring that up to 2 trebuchets, you need more than 6 villagers. When you go to 3 trebuchets, you need more than 9, because there's a very downwards curve in the effectiveness of repair speed as you add more.
Oh, that is...
I mean, that's a red palace.
Yeah, that's a red palace, but...
You're thinking it could
like
be more
this will
aggressively
just,
placed, or
I'm not sure where I would place it actually. I would maybe place it on the left side of the map, or even at the left gold top side, because I feel like it will just die to trebuchets here.
but it does have like what 12 range, and if you fill that with villagers, it's like killing everything. Like this is an unassailable position until it gets taken down by trebuchet. So
the thing that worries me is he will be able to, because we saw that there's a huge hill, so he won't be able to use springles to get it to kind of defend from trebuchets, and there's no resource in the middle that he's defending. So if there was like
it's a staging ground for an attack.
It's a staging ground, yes, but he already has a keep that does the same job. So I'm kind of worried that this red palace might go down really, really quickly. Or, you know, if Leenock attacks him, then it might be really good. But we see Leenock is trying to sneak around and be like, you know, you got the keep and you got the red palace. I'll actually just go around and see what's in your base.
Is this a serious attack? This is an attack unsupported by Springles and Mangonels. And there's two Mangoes. Oh, Mangonel gets 2 shots in, not quite enough to kill those bad boys. But he does have a mean choke point to fall back on. He could get a couple of cheeky longbow shots in. Meanwhile, there are a few things happening on the rest of the map as well. Trebuchet has started its 10-year plan.
Does he know that Red Palace is there? I'm assuming he sees it with the tower.
Let's look at the vision for Leenock here.
Yeah, he knows.
He actively has vision of it. He's got that high ground tower to give a lot of vision. There's also a monk, if I'm not mistaken, on the left side relic, on the far left. No, it's 2 spears. Okay, they're just standing guard duty. Relic-wise, 2 in the possession of Leenock, 1 for VortiX. VortiX is getting near the max out. He's also adding extra stables. Ironically, not under the influence area of the keep. So maybe he doesn't know either.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't know much about a game like me, but he's not using that, which is quite a big thing, actually.
I mean, there is the risk of losing the keep and then the stable influence, and you're like, I don't want to be that all in on the center of the map.
Right, some French players do like one of the keeps kind of close to their base and just build a production, because it does add up quite a bit. Like, especially, you know, if this game goes on for another 10-20 minutes, that is a lot of resources that he could have saved, and like valuable resources as well, right?
You're saving wood, and there's very little wood on a map like Altai.
Right, I mean, like any resource like food, gold, you know, it allows you to produce more, and I do like this landmark for Leenock.
It's so good.
I love it, but he needs to hold. If he holds this landmark gives you almost, of course, I don't know the exact number, but it's about 800,000 resource every minute and like 20 seconds.
800,000 resources?
802,000 resources.
It's more than that.
It's more?
Yeah, it's more. Knight 240, Trebuchet is like 750, a Men-at-Arms, Spearman, and a Longbow. I think
it's crazy value.
1,500 resources, and you're paying 400. It's 100, 100, 200, and it takes like 1 minute 15. So
yeah, 115, 120, yeah.
If you get the Wingard Palace and you have 5 minutes, suddenly you've got 4 Trebuchets on the cheap, right?
Yeah, and as English, you know, you get that amazing upgrade for trebuchets that apparently does AoE damage.
Yeah,
and
shattering projectiles.
Suddenly these keeps in the middle and the Red Palace is not that great anymore. It will slowly go down, and Leenock will kind of win with the cost efficiency, not to mention having the Imperial farms giving gold. But in order to do that, he actually needs to defend this first.
Both are in Imperial. Leenock has finally caught up. He's got a Wingard army being summoned. The Wingard army is being mustered. We can look at that Wingard Palace. It's about halfway, and that's going to help. He's going to get a, let's see, a Longbowman, Spearman, Men-at-Arms, Knights, and Trebuchet. Yep. An odd assortment of forces. So it's going to be helpful. There are many Springles, though, for VortiX, who, by the way, is adding a, what I imagine is a royal cannon. No, it's not royal. He has the Red Palace. It's a normal cannon.
Yeah, it's a normal cannon, yeah. So, I mean, he's like, VortiX is, I feel like most of the time when he attacks, he goes for the kill. He rarely goes for resources. I don't know if you noticed.
No multi-harass, he blobs, he death balls.
He never goes for gold. A lot of players like to deny gold. Oh my god, look at that trebuchet.
Wow. Oh, not bad, not bad. He took about half life off that Springald. But look at the hill. He's going for the Springald hug. He's getting
slowly
real close.
Charging up. Nope. Not today. Oh, but that's a huge army from Leenock, actually. There's so many units, and there's only 1 Mango now.
Are they elite Men-at-Arms, though? They are elite Men-at-Arms. 8 melee armor. Decent against Knights. Still not really the perfect army to deal with knights. There's a couple of crossbows, but I only count about 8 or so. Men-at-arms are holding out for all they can, but there's a lot of crossbows, arbaletiers, I should say, for the side of VortiX. It looks like a good engagement for VortiX, but it's turning sour. I think he's leaving at the right moment. Good job by him sensing when he might be overstaying his welcome.
I would love to see the, I'm not sure what the upgrade is called in University for longbow damage.
Yeah.
That is such a huge boost to the damage.
Incendiary arrows.
Incendiary arrows, right. So English is one of the civs that you actually want to continue making archers, and we do see it, yeah. So English is one of the civs that you do want to just keep spamming longbows, even though they're technically dealing damage like archers.
Yes.
And most civs, you kind of drop archers late game. Longbows are extremely, extremely good, and they also have the upgrade where they can shoot much, much faster. So they can actually just, yeah, they do less damage to knights and men-at-arms, but they still do really, really good amount of damage, and they're very good to just kind of mass. And if there are no mangonels, they will actually just chew through everything that there is on the field.
Even knights, right? Especially with that network of citadels upgrade. Now, Observer, can we look at 2 things? Leenock's archery range, does he have that bonus attack speed upgrade? Let's find an archery range, doesn't have it yet. Arrow volley, 70% attack speed.
70%, that is.
Now let's look at the next thing. We can click a... Wait, I don't think we actually have a keep for Leenock. There's nothing to check. The network of citadels...
No, he doesn't. And that's kind of weird, right?
Yeah,
he has 0... I don't think he's actually gathered any stone this game.
He does not have any stone, never got any. So he's got that 25% attack speed as advertised instead of 50%. Oh, that's... He never knew about... Yeah, that's a very forward keep by VortiX.
Yeah, he's protecting all his gold with keep. There's another gold...
There's a wall on the right, yeah.
Yeah, there's another goal there. That's a stone wall as well. So, I mean, I guess the good thing is he does have farms that produce gold. Obviously, they don't produce as much as he wanted.
Yeah.
But Leenock is at a point where he needs to... Oh, there's a gold. Oh, there's a gold right there.
What? Yeah.
Right in front of his army.
Yeah, I think the problem isn't that Leenock doesn't have enough gold. He's getting the gold right now, 1 extra space from that gold mining camp right now. It's more that he's giving VortiX so much. French is one of the most gold-requiring civilizations there is, and all the gold that may seem like a bridge too far for VortiX are being yielded by Leenock for free. Basically still the echoes of the feudal past are haunting Leenock. He's been put in this passive situation. And he's only now starting to find his courage to go back on the map. It's taken him this long to recover from a deficit he had 24 minutes ago. And now he's starting to bring about to bear the Wingard army with the trebuchets. They are taking shots from Springald. That's a lot of range. He's taking down trebuchets from afar.
Yeah, he's definitely choosing his battle to go right here, right now. There's a lot of mangonels. That's 3 mangonels, and there are no answers for them. Like, Leenock doesn't actually have any siege, which I find quite interesting that he just stopped producing it a while ago.
Full bio.
And I would love if... Oh, we do see Men-at-Arms going for the siege, and he might be able to get some. I would love if Leenock had a keep to as a backbone and also give the network of castles buff, because he currently doesn't have it.
Yeah, definitely. That would have been so useful. Even an outpost here would have helped. He does still have some damage on that keep from the trebuchets, but all were killed. Leenock made a mad dash for the backline. He killed a cannon. He killed about 2 mangonels. But now we've got stone walls that are basically creating this large no-go zone for Leenock. VortiX has secured the 2 flanks. He's fighting still an important battle in the center. And now that suddenly that Red Palace is feeling pretty good. Even though it may not have got a single shot off yet, it's defending the 1 area that Leenock is actively contesting.
Yeah, we do see some run by going. Leenock actually doesn't have +3 range damage upgrade, which is actually quite huge with the amount of longbows that he does have.
Yeah.
I find it so interesting that he just doesn't have a single keep. Like, he'd never mined any stone, which is something that I feel like he needs in order to take control of this middle. If he gets the upgrade from Network Castles, that is obviously a huge DPS increase for his units. He gets boiling oil, knights can't engage anymore. So I do think that this map at this point turns into kind of like just mass units and just siege to snipe out any AoE damage or potentially snipe keep. So I would love to see if he kind of gets that going and maybe focuses more on siege and just maybe switch to hand cannoneers as well, so he can not use the wood on longbows, but actually use wood on siege units.
That's a good point. English farm enclosures really gives you that food and gold income. More food, so you need a combination of hand cannons and men-at-arms to basically spend your resources that you are getting typically as an English late game appropriately. And then any wood bank can indeed go to some siege, perhaps some Springles. Yeah, perhaps some Springles or so. The one thing Leenock has is he can circumvent that large wood cost for trebuchets entirely with that Wingguard Palace, which he's still got in queue. He's finally getting his own Springles, kind of as you suggested he should be doing. Still no stone, to the dismay of many, no doubt. He's got trebuchets, starting to make a move again. He's got lots of longbows, 37 longbows, 23 crossbows, 2 trebs, 38 chat of arms, 2 Springles, a spearman and a knight. Wingguard Palace.
Yeah, so we do see push again. No repair on the keep, by the way.
Yeah, interesting.
From VortiX. And he is getting his mangoes actually killed, and there's an army on the right side that I don't know if VortiX actually realizes, but all his siege is focused on that, and the main army of Leenock is just cleaning up VortiX's army on the left side.
Keep is going down. There's no more enlistment incentives for those archery ranges. Still no third attack upgrade there for the longbows. They're losing out a little bit. They actually can't pierce the late game armor for siege anyway, so it doesn't make a big difference there, but in the large scope of things it does matter. Sacred Site victory needs to be reset by Leenock. He's actually forgetting to step up on the plate there and resetting that victory condition, as well as the little bit of a gold trickle that it offers. Trebuchets are now going ham on the Red Palace. He's got it down to about 70% or so. Springles shooting the wrong thing. They're going for the longbows.
Oh, that if those 3 mangoes shoot at the same time, they will absolutely demolish those longbows. Leenock sees it because he's focus firing it, but he's not moving the units and gets a good chunk of his army completely deleted. And men-at-arms are going. There's no melee infantry for VortiX to kind of prevent them, so he will be losing some siege. And this is the strength of English in the late game. Farms provide gold and provide food, so he can actually just print units constantly, and farms will provide gold forever. So French late game, not the kind of the best lineup against English. So if the longer the game goes, I feel like it is better for Leenock because of that passive gold income from the farms.
Yeah, he can certainly make many men-at-arms. He doesn't have any in production right now, perhaps a hotkey issue. He also never got to reset that Sacred Site. He did destroy the Red Palace. Good job to him. The defensive point has been removed. Leenock is getting an absurd amount of food per minute, but because he's coming in piecemeal here with his units, he's not quite getting the critical mass to really call it an army once again. It's scattered units, and he never did reset that Sacred Site. Great job by VortiX, continually fighting for that. VortiX, by the way, who has 3 upgrades from his blacksmith, full everything, whereas Leenock has no third attack upgrade for the ranged, no attack upgrade at all for the melee, so those men-at-arms are mostly focused on absorbing shots rather than really being a damage dealer in their own right.
I know I've said this before, but imagine a keep from Leenock on the middle. There's nothing against it. These crossbows would get completely obliterated. Oh, we do see was that a mango from Leenock?
No, it's Bombards.
Oh, no, it's Bombards.
That's the one thing he doesn't need now.
I think a trebuchet landed a hit and it looked like a,
Why is Leenock making Bombards? He already dealt with the problem of keeps.
Maybe he's trying to deal with siege with Bombards, but I think Springles do maybe a better job. Yeah, he is trying to fight.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Units.
He's not Chinese.
Yeah, maybe he's just used to it. We do see him going back into Springles, but I was actually hoping when he mines out that gold in the middle that he'll be like, oh, I ran out of gold, so I'm just gonna put everything on stone. But he actually made more farms, so. Leenock is just not a keep enjoyer, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be so good. It would secure that network of Citadels upgrade, but yeah, I guess I'm with you, but we should probably verge away just from what the could-be's and what he's doing. He's getting a lot of food here, a lot of gold. He's going to make another army. It's certainly a fighting style. VortiX is getting his keep back up again. It does have a little bit less value now than before because trebuchets and cannons are on the field. I should say Bombards.
And Bombards, yeah. So yeah, he's gonna slowly siege it down. We do see more Springles. We do see a Mangonel coming from Leenock as well. So again, guys, like he's been, if we think about it, he's been behind whole game.
Yeah.
He was behind 30, 40 workers at one point, almost half the supply. And again, he's slowly coming back. Him transitioning to more farms means more gold, more food, more ways to kind of print units. And while VortiX did have the whole map, he's slowly running out of resources.
Yeah, is he, like, can he actually run out of resources? I suppose so. French doesn't have the best renewable source of gold, right? So, like, give it another hour or so and he's gonna have almost nothing.
He has 1 gold on the bottom and that's it. I don't think there's any more gold on the map. I think this is all he has. He has to trade, which, by the way, is obviously a very viable way to get gold. But then you're using a lot of traders instead of maybe army or other workers in order to maintain that gold. But we do see just so many units from VortiX coming in, transitioning back to the Knights and Leenock's production. Pumping units as fast as he can, and he needs to try and hold this the best he can.
He's getting a Mangonel upgrade right now, rather than an actual Mangonel. It's like reload time for units that he doesn't have presently. Trebuchet is getting some cheeky shots in from afar, but I mean, it's not their specialty, dealing with army. Knights are coming in. VortiX might be going for the kill move, finally. And once again, Leenock, without that keep fallback point, is really making it easier for VortiX to push in and feel like he's going to be able to go for that kill move. Leenock, 128 population, is trying to pump out men-at-arms, but they've been countered for aeons already by the Arbaletier that are here.
Yeah, the Knights go down, so this is only going to be range units from VortiX, and we do see another round coming from that Palace. Mangonel comes out, maybe a big shot on, maybe? Nope. Well, big shot on the Mangonel, but a little bit unfortunate there. He's pumping on units, he's trying to hold. Sprinkles are trying to kill the Trebuchet, so they're running forward because of that hill. But yeah, he's trying his best to hold. And again, it's kind of been the narrative of this game. VortiX is trying to finish the game, and Leenock is just barely holding, barely producing units. But we do see Leenock is on 80 food right now.
Yeah, 100 food, 80 villagers. VortiX has 138 economy. He can keep doing this all day, flooding in units, and he is. Leenock sticking with those men-at-arms, though technically they are countered by everything that VortiX has. He just doesn't have to spearman up. Yeah, I saw it. That was an esports head lean in. I mean, that was a deep lean. Like both the chin and the forehead went to the same side. His left shoulder, I believe.
Impressive face performance right there.
Yeah. He's got a good range of motion there, but he doesn't have a lot of range of possibilities in this game left. He's down to 70 population. It's time to face the music. VortiX, both of them were in a 1-1 score, but VortiX finally takes it, clinches it, and gets the 3-0 victory over Leenock. I don't think anyone expected quite such an imbalanced score between the two of them here.
No, I'm a bit surprised, to be honest. I do think that the first 2 games, maybe in the matchups, I think all 3 matchups worked out maybe the way VortiX wanted. Maybe Leenock doesn't feel that he was, disadvantaged necessarily, but I do think that VortiX had pretty good matchups. So that obviously worked out for him, and VortiX was able to just do what he needed to do and just get the win.
Yeah, and he definitely adapted to the situation at some point. I'm sure VortiX thought, I'm staying on feudal, and then you adapt. You see the King's Palace, he delayed it a bit, gets his own out. He's like, all right, I'm taking castle control of this game. And eventually he had to go to Imperial. He did a lot of things right, and not all of it was contested. He had those stone walls on the side. He made sure he had enough gold. He kept going up steadily in villager count. Mostly good springled control. Took secure middle position, kind of controlled that center of the map. And most of all, you had those sacred sites as well. Made sure to get those, gets his gold in, and puts a timer on Leenock. Leenock, he just got stuck in this pattern. I know the feeling. It's easier to see as an observer than as a player. You've got unit production, you've got certain upgrades, you've been in stress, under duress the whole game, and you just keep making men-at-arms, you keep making the units you have. It's hard to break that pattern, isn't it?
He's trying to break out, and you could see there was a point where Leenock killed the keep and the Red Palace, and he was maybe like, if I just keep massing units, I can get out and counterattack maybe, but then VortiX stopped him, but then you're keep producing units to defend, and like you said, you get stuck in a loop where you're constantly trying to survive. And VortiX, I mean, it was very action-packed. Like there was, attacks the whole time. And something that you mentioned now that we didn't mention during the game, he did get a couple of relics. He did get sacred sites, which also helped him with the gold income. And Leenock was fighting for a very, very long time, but VortiX in the end with the switch back to knights, you could see that there was kind of no easy counter, no fast counter, and the knights tanked enough damage for the range units of VortiX and the siege to kind of take the win.
Yeah, I think there were 3 key points for VortiX across this series. He had an intelligent draft pattern there with the civs he picked based on the map. He was very aggressive and made army and was ready to finish the game, rather than kind of thinking of the game as a canvas of, a painting and thinking I can paint it any way I like. He had a bit more of an idea about how he wanted games to finish, and he followed through with that. And then his execution and lack of major mistakes. Show me the man who never made a mistake in a game of Age of Empires 4,
right.
Like small or big ones. But overall, we didn't see big ones. It was good aggression. We probably have a chance to talk to him a little bit more. He's ready for us on the couch already. Do you want to join for this? Or
Sure.
Yeah, let's go. Here? Yeah, just listen to us.
He's going to have to...
So, VortiX, congratulations, a 3-0 score against Leenock, who has been basically going up a lot in level. I don't know if you heard us just there. I described your 3 points and your 3 strongest suits to win this series draft. Are you generally satisfied with how it went?
Yes, because I think that I'm the kind of player that when I have a matchup that I'm comfortable with, I will play much better than when I'm on a matchup that I actually don't really like. And I think against Leenock, it's actually quite easy to outdraft him because, he plays like a limited sieve of pools, pool of sieves, rather. And he's actually really, really good. But I think he really needs to improve drafting because I think, at least for in my point of view, the 3 matchups were favored for me.
All 3 were expected. Beastyqt was saying the same thing. The level 1 psychology pick on Altai would be English, so you would have the comfort of roughly knowing what's going to happen there and then being able to counter draft that, and you're kind of confirming that now.
Yeah, pretty much. I think Altai, honestly, I was thinking of picking Chinese because it's actually really good as well, but I actually didn't feel that comfortable against him because he's also the kind of player that will turtle, and maybe I thought it's going to go to the late game and maybe play French and make him play aggressive and try to get the lead there.
What did you think when you saw first game Dry Arabia versus Chinese? You said you're comfortable in the matchups that you have a lot of experience in. Do you have a lot of experience in playing English against China on Dry Arabia?
Not really, but I think China is just so bad on Arabia that pretty much every sim that you pick there will counter. I think he was expecting Mongols because for some reason, maybe you understand, he actually likes Chinese against Mongols. So I think he was expecting that matchup. I'm not sure what was the plan. I was actually thinking I would pick Mongols, and if he picks Chinese, it's okay. But then I was like, why would I throw Mongols there if Chinese is really bad against anything else? So I will just play English. If he picks Mongols, I think it's okay. And if he picks Chinese, I can just easily harass him everywhere, which is what happened.
You're off to a great start with now a 2-1 match score in the group, I believe.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
that I don't want to say that it guarantees advancement, but it is certainly looking quite likely. Now, you're going to face someone else that is going to go for a 2-1 score. And I don't have the exact graph in my head about who you're probably going to face or whether there's any options. But let me ask it this way. Obviously, you've come here with the desire to win the tournament. I've got a 2-part question. One, do you think it is realistic? Do you have that true confidence? And number 2 is there any player that you would want to face preferentially, perhaps not with a look on how that helps you to win the tourney, but just because it would be cool to play against them?
I'm not really sure. I think I want to avoid MarineLorD for sure, and I would really like to play against DeMusliM because I think my style is actually quite okay against him, and I think I could do really well there. And next round, I think it's either DeMusliM, TheMista, or MarineLorD, and probably DeMusliM and TheMista are obviously considered to be a bit weaker than MarineLorD, so I would want to play against them, but then I don't really want to play against TheMista because his style is super weird, and you never know what to expect. So yeah, I'm hoping the DeMusliM next round.
And then the second part, or the first, how much are you like feeling that victory in the lead up to the event and how it has gone so far?
I think it's going okay. Like, I don't know if I'm like already in the next stage or not. I think I could probably, with 2-3, I think I could still not make it. But yeah, coming in, I thought I would do a bit better. Like I was playing better in custom games than I am now, but I am actually feeling more comfortable as the tournament is advancing. So yeah, I don't know, like before the tournament, I think after the qualifier, they asked me and I said I wanted to make at least top 4, and I think that's still my thought right now. I want to make top 4, and then obviously I want to win, but I know it's really hard with the level here.
I see. Any other questions, BC?
Were you worried in the last game? Because you killed a lot of villagers. At one point, you had double the villager count. When you kept attacking in French versus English, were you worried like, oh, this is not working and it's kind of like prolonging the game? As we know, like Leenock loves to play in the late game. And I think English versus French is English favored because of the farms and network of castles. So were you worried that if he does manage to delay the game, that's something you'd rather not play and kind of want to end the game as soon as possible?
Yeah, at first I actually thought I was okay, but then I remembered actually about the upgrades that make the farms give gold to the English. And then when I started worrying, and I thought, okay, probably I should stop pushing now because I thought his economy would be much worse. But actually it was much better than I expected all the time. So at some point I thought, okay, I need to stop being aggressive. I need to sit down, make castles, try to go Imperial. And I think in Feudal I was trying to be so aggressive because I knew I was ahead, and in my head he was all-inning because he was still making units but not pushing. So I thought, okay, I'll just throw all my army, make him stay on base, and then I can make Castle Age and make Mangonels and defend with that. But yeah, it was kind of weird because he wasn't really attacking. So there I was a bit confused, and I kept being aggressive. I think the last 2 trades on his base were not really good for me, and then I just thought, okay, I will just sit back.
Yeah, that's what BC said as well. Like the final 10 horsemen, as you were denying the King's Castle, lost you a little bit of that momentum. You were ahead in villagers a lot, but you lost that map control a bit. Eventually, you got the victory. Fantastic job. Thanks for kind of sharing your thoughts here for everyone at home as well. Guys, if you're enjoying this tournament, do tell your friends about it that have played Age of Empires before but may not know that this is going on. A lot of high-level games going on here. We are still in the midst of things. This is the group phase. Every player plays 5 matches. VortiX now is 2-1. We've got 2 more days of group stage left, and then there will be the bracket phase in the weekend as well, with the first place prize being $30,000 if I'm not mistaken. Second place $20K, a total of $100,000. A very hype Age of Empires 4 action going on. We're not done for the day yet. This was match number 2. We've got 2 more best of 5s coming up. And we'll show you the highlights of the previous series as we revel once again in VortiX's glory victory there. And then we'll have the 3rd match coming up right after that. Thanks for watching, and enjoy the next.
And before that, we actually show you the kitchen stream.